Dum dum. Yes, me again. I thought I could get away with one video, but I realised that what I said in the last video actually rolls on to what I was going to say in the next video. So while it's hot in me head, I thought I'd knock one out. So I finished with Lisa, who's a kind of guru type on the YouTubes. And there are lots of that sort of thing. And saying what Martin said, that it's hard to be comfortable in the world, or comfortable with yourself in the world, when you have to interact with the world. I use the example of working as a supermarket checkout girl. Woman. So Lisa, for example, can give her talks and get some money in from however she does it for being a guru. But the bit that I wanted to link into number 8 was that, as I was saying, it might be good to encourage oneself to be mindful of what one is thinking, which may lead to doing less quick, reactive sort of more thinking and actions, as opposed to giving the brain that little extra bit of time to come up with a more considered angle on whatever is going on in the head. And the brain thinks extremely quickly. It really doesn't need much extra, but any extra is often very welcome. The trouble is that is a thing that I'm going to introduce that I really never wanted to introduce at all, and it's the ego. Whether it's a real thing or not, or real thing as in, is it worthy of a label? It's not a real thing, obviously, but is it a thing that's worthy of a label? And we go, okay, yes, because we vaguely know what we're talking about when we say ego. And the problem works out like this, that a person like Lisa can and probably will go through her life firing off quick sort of what she would describe as internally felt natural spontaneous reactions, and label that good, as in whatever comes from that had to be because that's the place it came from the natural reaction, spontaneous place, as opposed to the longer, deeper thinking, calculating place. And we get some reasoning going on here as well, that, for example, our Lisa is not relieved, is relieved of the burden of the responsibility of having considered decisions go wrong. When I come to considered decisions, let's say what university to go to. So just to give an idea of what a considered decision is, it's possible to go choose a university just blah, 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 blah. I imagine. I've not done it, so bordering on the, you know, anyway, almost nothing, and you just go with how you feel. Over here, you can write lists of pros and cons of results in the fields that you think that you want to read in, etc., etc., etc. And you can make a really deep, in-depth study, go and research, stay on the internet and research more, and really make a really calculated decision of which university to go to. And the university to go to is just an example of, could be anything. Should I have tea or coffee? I mean, we all basically go with this. You know, I feel like a coffee, I'll have a coffee. But you could, don't know how you'd do it, but you could really overwork it, let's say. As in, you know, the tannin levels with the caffeine levels of the. You see what I mean? You can do the calculation, or you can just go with the blah blah blah. The ego comes in when one or many of these deeply done calculating decisions goes wrong. It's very hard to live with yourself afterwards because you've done your real best of trying to do the best thing for yourself in an adult and carefully considered manner, and it's still fucked up. And it's really fucked up because you didn't do the calculations right, or basically the ego takes a hell of a slapping when this goes wrong. But if you live your life over here, twiddly, 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 the ego is quite safe because it can deny responsibility for things done here because you didn't really consider them at all. In fact, a lot of what's done over here it's just twiddled, isn't it? It's just people twittered decisions as opposed to considered decisions. And the ego will not take responsibility for the Twitter decisions, but it will for the considered decisions. So in a way, it's not surprising that a lot of people live on the Twitter side, because there is a heavy price to pay of getting it wrong on this side. I think that's all I wanted to say. So although it might be good for me to try and suggest that more people lived more of their life doing more considered calculations, I think I must put forward that I do appreciate that I'm putting their egos at risk. And you can see the whole thing joins in with what I said and what Martin said, that it's quite easy to live an introverted life because an extroverted life with interactions with more people and institutions and life will involve more heavy duty or heavier duty decision making, where an introverted life you can almost do just what the hell you want whenever the hell you want to do it, what again would be called spontaneously. But there's not much recourse from that. There's no blowback, or at least not much. So you can just live your life over here in a Twittery way, and having to move it over into the outside world and making these decisions can really lead to great blows to the ego, and consequently the comfort quotient within oneself, one's inner life looking at, drops. That's about it, really. I would have liked those last few words to come out more fluently, but I think I'll be able to live with it. Yeah. So it's easy to Twitter on this side. It's harder for the inner contentment to be an adult on this side. Because being an adult does involve taking some major blows.